we're in this hotel bathroom. Everything's been good to this point for me. And you're crying on the floor, so I'm trying to be there for you. I understood that she was upset about something with her family, but I'm also trying to understand because at the same time, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. I gotta tell y'all, Tim, Alex, I've measured the lie detector test. It says that both of you were lying. Okay, listen, both of y'all were lying. Both of y'all are lying. Both of you. I'm sorry. I gotta say it. Both Tim and Alex, none of you are winners, and both of you are villains. I've got to be honest with you. I'm looking at the results right now. I'm looking at the list. You both took the test. Both of your heart rates were exponentially up when it came to explaining your positions on what happened in the situation. I don't find any of you to be heroes in the situation. Doesn't matter whether you have the young lady beside you, Brittany, who's a cold-hearted liar herself, and it doesn't matter, Tim, if you felt like you were telling, you don't get angry, but you do get angry, but you don't get angry, but you've never had an argument like this before in your entire life. But hey ho, both of you are lying. And I want to be very, very clear. Look, let's be honest. This Tim and Alex situation, I'm sick and tired of people saying it's one side fits all. Both of them have got a problem. Both of these people are problematic people. Okay? Alright? And I'm going to try and keep this as quick as I can. Alright? Both of them are problematic. Here's why. Both of them want to be able to control the narrative. Both of them are violators of boundaries. Okay, so I'm tired of hearing these commentaries that are like trying to prove one side is the other side. There is no one side. There is both sides. That both of them are violators of the boundaries. Now, can I be honest with you? We have to call things a thing. How is it that we're able to easily see that Tim has abusive tendencies? I keep seeing this thing go around. Let's say Tim is got the abusive tendencies. Let's rock with it, right? Let's rock with it. Who actually abused though in this actual episode? No. Who actually abused in this series? Right? So I'm not saying that he doesn't have those tendencies. By the way, I'm not discounting that he doesn't have those tendencies. Okay, I want to make it very clear. I am not saying he doesn't have those tendencies. What I'm saying is you cannot say, Tim has these tendencies for abuse, but then be like, well, Alex has got a little bit of a problem. No. When you put your hands on somebody, whether you thought, and at the time she said she was intending to keep him quiet because the people are outside. Yeah, but you were having a harsh argument, right? You were kind of drunk too. And also, with Tim too, him always talking about, he never gets angry. And I told you that was bullcrap. He's petty. We know that already, right? He told us that story in the very beginning. We told that story in the very beginning of the of the series when he said that he only bought this t-shirt just to piss off his ex. We know he's petty, but what I don't want to do is equate. It's like what we're doing with the Hannah Nick situation. I don't want to equate two things, right? What did we see on the screen? Because what I saw was one person who admitted on the screen that they shushed somebody with the mouth. Now, they were trying to protect him, they said, but sometimes your intention has impact. Right? And Tim is somebody else, okay? And Tim also is somebody else, also, right? Tim is also somebody else. I find that, bro, you're not telling the full truth about how you react in situations. I don't think you're even aware that how you react in situations, which is not a pass, by the way. It's not a pass. Because some of the ways that you've reacted, I'm looking at it and going, oh, bro, the way that you are kind of rolling right now, bro, like, you know that it's going to be a problem, innit, right? You can see how that's going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying to you? But these are two people that violate boundaries. You know what I mean? These are two things that people say are violating boundaries. So for me personally, I saw both of them, but the only person who actually put a hand on somebody was actually Alex. So let's not equate the two, because we don't need to. You know what I'm saying to you, right? I think they're both a problem, but I'm not going to equate Tim to Alex because what we're trying to do is, and I said this, and I'm going to be biased. Let me start out by saying this. I am going to be biased because as a man, and I was just talking to Sean about this as well behind the scenes, I have to be open about my biases too. because I'm a man, I'm going to see it a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm going to see it differently. So I want to be very fair. I'm going to see it differently. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna be fair, but I'm gonna try to be as fair as I can. But I know I'm biased as a man. Okay, and I have my own experiences that are going to bleed into the way I'm gonna break this thing down. Okay, and so here we go. Okay, actually, and Jay, the funny thing is, he actually did admit she touched him twice on the interview, on the reunion. He actually admitted it twice after. When he said it, he said no, it wasn't assault. But what he said was, no, you did touch me. You touched my mouth. You know what I'm saying to you? Right? So he actually did say she touched him. He's just not seen it as an assault, which is fair. I understand, because as a man, you may not see that as assault, but it's assault. So both of these people, though, have anger issues. And I said this at the very beginning. I said they both got. I said this to you. Tim telling you that he's not angry is a lie. It's a lie. We all could see that from the very beginning. You know what I mean? And because, of course, we know that we have to also remember as well that this show doesn't want anyone to be sued. You know what I mean? This show doesn't want anyone to be sued. You know what I'm saying to you? All right? But let's get into this, because the lie detector said that both of them are lies. But let's get into this.
So it quickly turns contentious, and it got to the point where, yes, I did feel like things got out of hand from a boundary standpoint, to where, yes, what happened with the hand being put over my mouth was put over my mouth. Yes.
Pause. So we can't get off the hook, but the way he's reading it, because I understand he's a man, right? He said, listen, the hand was put over my mouth. And he's going to say it again after. He's going to say, when you touched me. Watch, he's going to say it after. So I'm just going to play it on. But both of them are problems. Right? So, I want to keep it real. Yeah?
Yes, I was called something other than the name that I was given on this earth. I know the medium that I'm on. I know that I'm a 225, 6-foot black man. I don't want to get portrayed as this angry person to where we are fighting and squabbling it out on camera.
I want to be very honest. I think that a lot of times when it comes to Tim specifically, is that he doesn't realize he can get angry. I think that's the biggest issue. The issue isn't that you are an angry person all the time. I think your biggest issue is that your anger, because you let things build up, it builds into a massive. Do you get what I'm saying to you? You can have those moments, which can be very, very scary. So that I understand that part. You know what I mean? I can understand that part too. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand that part from Alex's point of view, which is that can also come across that particular way. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's very much aware of that. And we saw that with the way that he ended things with her as well, right? And so it's just the way that he goes about certain things, the way that he talks at certain points. I can understand that. But again, like I just said, he wasn't the one that did something. And yeah, I think so. And the thing is, they're both dealing with something as well, isn't it? So he's got the grief of his sister. I don't think he should have been on the show. And I don't think she should have been on the show. Personally, neither of them should have been on the show. They're both dealing with very heavy, emotional situations that are probably not in the best frame of mind to be in a relationship. But the reality of the situation is that both of them have very poor ways of dealing with high conflict situations. You know what I mean? They both have very bad dealings with high conflict situations. And where was the safety for Alex? No. Can we be honest? Where was the ladies? Where was Monica to speak up for Alex? Where was Marissa to speak up for Alex? Where was AD to speak up for Alex? Why did nobody else speak up for Alex here? And I'm not saying that she's even wrong. I'm not even saying that she's the worst villain. She's not. No, she's not even really a villain for me. It's just problematic behaviors that I think both of them have. But nobody stood up for her. Why not? But you want to stand up for Hannah, who actually was being vile. But nobody stood up for Alex. Meanwhile, Hannah's the one that's telling you that Hannah does these things. Nah. We are binding behind slave. Can you keep quiet? It's not every day. But for me, it shows again the kind of craziness behind it, because once more again, Hannah didn't need defending. Hannah did not need defending. Hannah did not need defending. She could defend her own. She even called out her best friend. She needed no support. But where was Marissa? Okay, where was Marissa? Where was Monica? Yeah? Where was AD? Well, I didn't ask AD, so I'll give her a pass. Can't drop her in there, right? None of them were shouting on Alex's part. What's that about, ladies? What was that, ladies? Yeah, what was Hannah? Hannah ain't defending nobody, right? But Hannah riled Joel up to come and defend her and get behind her for defending Nick, who is nowhere near what Tim was. Nowhere close to what Tim was. Now, I want to be honest with you. Nick, you know, whatever you want to call it, you may say he's manipulative. Okay, cool. But Nick is not even on the closest level to Tim. I think Tim has got more problematic because he likes to push boundaries. Whenever you're pushing boundaries, you're going to cause issues, right? But nobody was there to defend. Alex was given the same energy. The thing was, the only person defending Alex was Brittany. Huh? Only person defending was Brittany. But what? Monica and hey, let me keep quiet, bro. Let me keep quiet, bro.
And understanding there's producers outside the door, et cetera, et cetera. But also, if I'm talking to someone I love, y'all hear it in my voice right now. I can't be quiet. Ask me. I'm not here to. I don't force my opinion on anybody, but don't ask me what I think unless you want to know. Whatever partner I have in this world, I'm hoping that they understand that about me.
Now, I want to be very, very honest. Tim is also unaware because he does talk a lot. Okay, Tim is very much unaware. He does talk a lot. Now, both of them actually cut across each other. I'm tired of this narrative like, oh, Tim overtalks her. No, she overtalks him too. They overtalk each other. They both cut each other off like a lot of times. But Tim does cut her off. Now, what Tim doesn't realize is that you can't say that when you're talking that, you know what, I'm unaffected by this. I'm not annoyed by this. But you're showing in your energy, your posture, your tone, everything about you, your demeanor, you are angry. And whenever people deny what they really feel, that is also a problem too. Because more than likely, you are not going to measure what you really are actually behaving as in those moments. Again, once more, I just need Tim to see that. It's at the moment, all I'm seeing from Tim is a lack of accountability for your particular aspects, but you don't see that you also play a part in this situation too, that you have certain tendencies that are coming through. I'm rocking with you, bro. Listen, she was disrespectful. She was, I would say it's abusive. I mean, you call someone a B word and then put your hand on the mouth, because, you know what I mean? But, you know, I think you need to also see another side of it as well. I think you need to see the other side of it as well. I
took everything with this process and how I felt about her so seriously from the jump. And I don't want it to come across because things ended how it did. There wasn't something beautiful about what connected us. I hate the fact that our worst moment is the moment everybody wants to hear about the most.
I will say,
now this fight situation is going to be very important, right? Because I think the words that are used are very important. Okay, it's the words that are actually used that are going to be very, very important. The original conversation, he was vexed about her putting his hand in his mouth. No. Can we deep it? If, and I want you to really pay attention. If Tim, and remember, Tim doesn't tell the truth all the time about how he really feels because he wants to act macho. If Tim really didn't feel no way about the hand on the mouth, he would have never mentioned it. No, he may not call it assault, but if it didn't mean anything, right, he would have never mentioned it. It didn't mean anything, right? If it didn't mean anything, he would have never mentioned it, but he keeps mentioning it, which means it affected you. So don't try to play it down now. It keeps affecting you. That's why you keep talking about it. Right? So this is why I'm saying you have to pay attention.
but I think the reason that people do go to that fight, because A, we didn't see it. So all we can do is speculate. So thank you for clarifying some of it. And I will ask you, because I know you were agreeing and disagreeing with some of the things he was saying.
For sure.
But B, it's because when we watched you in the pods, you did and are so genuine to the point that you talked so deeply about things that mattered so much.
Okay, hold on. Can we get forward a little bit? Because, you know, I want to go a bit deeper because it's like, let's go forward a little bit. Okay. Oh, hold on. I don't want to miss anything.
I've never been in an argument like that with somebody I consider myself loving ever in my life. So let me figure out what it is that my now fiancé person that I
unravel, if you will. If I saw the look on Nick's face that you had the day in Cabo, I would have thought he checked out.
People say, okay, I'm checked out. I'm trying to process, okay, the person that I have been and am being clearly is a work. I've never been in an argument like that with somebody I consider myself loving ever in my life. So
now let's pause right there. First and foremost, when he says obviously he's never been in a fight with anybody like that, never been in a fight with anybody like that, I can't believe that. You know what I mean? Number one. But number two, if it is true, it's because you're also not relating in that argument the way you need to really relate in an argument, right? We've all had heated arguments before. And I can, as a person who also has a dismissive avoidant also, it was dismissive avoidant aspect. I also understand that in that particular moment, right? That when it comes to situations, you can downplay how you really feel because you're actually downplaying your emotions, right? So you may not feel like you're trying to be angry, but you are being angry. Okay? All right? So it's important to make it very clear that Tim may not see all the aspects of how he shows up, right? But these are two angry people. These are two angry people. When I did a whole breakdown on this, I told you about how also with Alex is also an angry person. And she violates boundaries. Because she made a joke about how when he said he's not going to be angry, she joked about, about making him angry or bypassing that boundary. You know what I'm saying to you? So in that moment, regardless of whatever you want to call it or not, they're both angry people, just that he likes to be like he's not angry. So if we can see that Tim is unregulated, potentially could be abusive, what are you really saying about Alex? Do you know what I'm saying to you? It's so if we're saying that we can see that, you can see that in Tim, I won't disagree with you. If you can see that in Tim, then you have to see that also in Alex. They are two sides of the same coin. Now, whether they can do the same damage, I also understand and take into account that there are nuances between men and women in terms of the damage that they can do. But if you can see the abusive tendencies in Tim, then you have to see it in Alex. Because Alex actually touched him. You know what I'm saying to you? Right? Just because she's calm and demeanored here doesn't mean anything. It is what you've actually done. So it's just about taking both sides.
So let me figure out what it is that my now fiance needs out of me, the version of me that she needs, because I am trying to make this work.
I just want to make it very clear. Nothing on my end was physically assaulting him. And he can agree with that.
I'll attest it.
I'm literally put in a...
Now, this is a really important part, right? The question here is, the wording they're using is, nothing about what I was doing was physically assaulting him. The wording here is really important because what happens is when we use the word abuse or assault, it carries a weight. What people tend to do is they have to minimize that behavior because they don't believe that they may be abusive or that they are somebody who assaulted. Do you get what I'm saying to you? But when we talk about the behavior, it can be assaultive because someone may downgrade what they're seeing as behavior. It's a bit like when women sometimes say, like, he wasn't necessarily being controlling, but we're looking at it, he is being controlling. You are downplaying the behavior because you want to call it controlling because you don't want to have a negative look at the way the person's behaving. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? But if we're in the midst of an argument and I'm talking, you put your hand in my mouth, because he's going to say it, we'll see what it says.
Position where I'm trying to prevent production to come and see this fight, like this argument that we're having. And I don't want it to look like we're in a bad space or that I don't want cameras to come and make him look bad. Simple as that. I was trying to protect him. I just wanted to de-escalate this entire situation.
Now pause. If you notice, his body language is telling you no. His body language is telling you no. So this is why I was watching him. I watched him first. I said, why is he shaking his head then? You should agree with what he was saying, what she was saying. If she was protecting you and you agree, you should be like, yeah, she was. But he's not agreeing. His body language is telling you what he really feels. So something's not quite right about this story. That's what I'm saying to you. There's something more to it because he's not... You've just told us that, okay, she didn't assault you, hey, you didn't feel it's assault? Hey, I hear it. You know what I'm saying to you? If a girl hits me, I'm not thinking that she's assaulting me. If I'm going to be honest with you, if a girl hits me, I'm not looking at it as assault. You know what I'm saying to you? Because from a man's perspective, I may not look at it as an assault situation. I may just say, you put your hands on me. I'm not going to use the word assault. And I may even change it for you. I'll be like, no, I don't want to use the word assault because again, I don't want to look like a victim. That's the whole point. A lot of us, as men especially, don't want to look like a victim. So when I put that word, no, you didn't assault me. You put your hands on me, yeah, but you didn't assault me. Yeah, you touched me, but you didn't insult me because then it looks like you beat me up. Just like when men have a very incorrect perception of the word grape, I do apologize, the word grape, that it goes into a place where it's like, you know, someone has to jump out of the bushes and come and collect you. That's not how grape usually works. It's a wrong inclination of what you think it will be. If someone puts your hands on you, it would be assault. But you don't look at it that way, and I understand. You know what I'm saying to you? I get it.
So that we could just go to sleep and revisit it in the morning. But now it's turned into an assault thing, which it wasn't.
Well,
at
clearly,
all.
if you did, he would. You guys
Clear
have
for everyone
Yeah, just
watching,
wanted
there
to
was
make
no
that
assault.
clear. Yeah.
Now you see how they want to clear out so quickly. You see how that's why I told you there's something not quite right. The way they're quickly trying to say, but you see, no, wait, let's make it very clear. It's not an assault thing.
It wasn't assault, but I reject you saying that I yelled at you. My voice carries. I was asking you what's
Production
going on.
had to come in and calm you down. Your voice,
no,
you were
they
very
had
upset.
to, they had to
Tim.
come. I was upset
You were
after
yelling.
you touched me. I'm not saying.
Listen to what he said. Listen again. Listen again. Listen again. Listen again. Listen again. Listen again. Remember she said that she was hovering over his mouth. That's why I said that both of them are liars. You remember I said to you that she said she was hovering over his mouth in an interview. I did another video. She said I hovered over his. I made a motion. Yeah. Listen to what he's gonna say. Listen again.
Saying that I yelled at you. My voice carries. I was asking you what's
Production
going on.
had to come in and calm you down. Your voice, you were
they
very
had
upset.
to, they had to
Tim.
come. I was upset
You were
after
yelling.
you touched me.
I was upset after what? You touched me. So that's why I said to you that this story has got some layers to it. That they're not really being truthful all the way through. And I'm not trying to make her the villain or him the villain. None of them are villains. Both of them are problems. I think both of them are problematic. Okay, all right. Both of them are problematic. If I'm honest with you, I think both of them are problematic. To be honest, you know what I'm saying to you. Okay, all right. But like I said, like this situation, it clearly pisses you off. Because he keeps talking about it. This is what I'm saying to you. If someone keeps talking about it, no matter how much they say, it doesn't affect me, it didn't affect me, it didn't affect me. The same way we're using the same logic to say that he's angry when he's not necessarily saying he's not angry, why are we not believing it? See, it's easy to believe in when we can all see that him telling us that he's not angry, we're all going, brother, you are angry. Right? We can all see that no matter what he tells us, it doesn't matter what you say. We can all see he's angry. We don't believe his testimony of him not being angry. So in the same way, okay, all right, that he mentioned again, why does he keep saying that it wasn't nothing, but it's something? So yes, it's not assault that he's seen in his head, but it's definitely making you pissed off because she touched you and he made you, and it's definitely making you pissed off, and definitely you keep mentioning it. About the fact that, she touched you. Right? And then calling me the B word. Look, we get called abusive as men for less, man. I'm just going to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Okay? You know what I mean? Yeah.
You saying that I yelled at you. My voice carries. I was asking you what's going on.
Production had to come in and calm you down. Your voice, you were
they
very
had
upset.
They had to
Tim.
come. I was upset
You were
after
yelling.
you touched me. I'm not saying this to be shady. I was more offended at being called outside of my name.
What did you call him other than his name?
Well, because he was disrespecting me for like over an hour. I said, you're acting like a little ass bitch. And
That's crazy.
Let's pause right there. Let's pause right there. This excuse of, because he was yelling at me, that's why I called him a little B word. It's not acceptable. I'm sorry. I'm going to be biased, and I know. We're going to be biased. There ain't no way. Okay? There ain't no way. All right? I haven't called a woman that I have not been in a relationship and called the woman a B word. I've never done it. I just don't do it. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? I'm very particular on certain words I use. I don't like them kind of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying to you? And the fact that also, in that space that, that is something that you went to, you were angry. Yeah, I hear it. But that's a go-to. That's something that's within you. You know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? This is not a one-off. That's your go-to. You know what I mean? Like, we practice what we know we do. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, I've never raised a hand to a girlfriend, any of my partners. I just never will do it. It's not, I'll walk away before that ever happens. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know what I'm saying to you? So I don't accept that. You know what I mean? But you're using it as a point to say that, that's the reason why you did it. because he was saying into your face. That's why he decided to go. And I was like, okay, I don't know. We can't accept that behavior. Do you know what I mean?
Not taking it anymore.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's just
'Cause,
how I
like,
felt.
it's crazy that why would you say that to any grown man out here trying to love you?
And it was crazy how you belittled me the way that you did.
Y'all asked men to take you seriously, and why would you belittle me?
So
like
why
that?
are you got your
Now pause it here. Here's where I got off the Tim train. Okay, this is the part where I got the Tim train. Whenever somebody whenever someone talks about their personal issues and says, "Y'all," I want, man or woman, I look at you differently. Right? Man or woman. You get what I'm saying to you? Man or woman. I gotta get that train, because whenever you start with a conversation that says, "Hey, you asked us," like if we're talking about a group conversation like we do on the panels, right? Okay, we talk about the panels. When we talk about the panels, right? We're having a conversation in a group amongst ourselves, so I get it. You know what I'm saying to you? We're having a conversation, so you might say, "Y'all," I get it. But when it's your own personal experience, and then you say to the person, "Y'all," I can't rock with you. That tells me that you have pain outside of this situation. Do you get what I'm saying to you? That tells me we got pain outside of the issue. And so for me, okay, all right, for me, this don't make no sense. This don't make no sense. You know what I mean? So for me personally, I'm looking at it like, no, not really with it. You know what I'm saying to you? Not really with it, bro. And that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, you've got extra pain, and that's what I'm saying to you. You got a blind spot you don't see. So can I see him being more angry? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can see that part. Of course. You said y'all. You said you asked us man them to take you more seriously. You're having an argument about something that is general as a population of people. So now you're taking everyone else's pain and making it yours too. No. It's yours specifically. You know what I mean?
your finger in my face and yelling at me because I don't want to talk to you because I'm upset about my father. Had nothing to do with you at all. I literally just wanted to take a shower and go to bed, and that wasn't good enough.
And you didn't say that once.
It's never good enough. It's always what you want. But when you want space, it's okay. But when I wanted space, it wasn't good enough, right?
Now let's pause it. In that conversation, the very first one, she didn't tell him what the reason was, but I think she did say she wanted space. I think she said about space or something like that as well. So something about space, I need to remember. So I need to remember quickly. I might even go back to that original episode. But I remember that she didn't tell him what the reason was, but I think she said she wanted space, which is, hey, look, at that point, if it gets to an angry point, you know what I'm saying, to, look, at that point, broski, you know it can get a little bit techie when you get into the face of your girl, or you get close to your girl and she's like moving on the mad thing. You got what I'm saying to you? But I also understand at the same time that, you know what, you could have given her space. You know what I'm saying to you? You could have given her space. Because said, you know what, I'm going to give you what you want. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You need that space. You said you want space. I'm going to give you what you want. You know what I'm saying to you? Again, but I also understand that, you know what, it is your girl, and at that point in time, you may have felt like, you know what, there's something not quite right. You know what I'm saying to you? I get that point also too, right? There's something going on in that situation. You see a girl upset, you go and talk to it. You know what I'm saying to you? I hear it. You know what I'm saying to you? I hear it. I definitely understand that as well. You know, I get that point too. You know what I mean? So I understand where both of them are coming from. You know what I'm saying to you?
Let's remember that.
It's
always on your terms, Tim. Never mind. I never get a word in. You just talk for like 10 minutes in circles. You literally are so long-winded and only listen to yourself.
Hey, I'm literally being berated here. I'm just trying to speak my truth. So I
don't think he's being berated. I can't lie to you. See, and that's the only part I think at certain points, right, is that he wasn't being berated. I want to be fair. You know what I'm saying to you? He wasn't being berated. You know what I mean? You wasn't being rated in that moment. You were both giving your point of view, okay? All right? And she gave her point of view, you gave your point of view. You were both giving your points of view. There was no beration in this part. That's the part where, like I said, there were certain parts where I don't agree with Tim, certain parts I can rock with you, which is why I'm saying I think both of them are an issue. You know what I mean? That issue there, right there, yeah, you weren't being berated, if I'm honest with you, bro. It was her saying her point of view, and you said your point of view, and why are we saying berated, bro? That's a little bit extra for me. Just a little bit extra. You know what I'm saying, too? Just a little bit extra, bro. I can't lie to you. You weren't being berated.
can't speak my truth without apparently yelling at you and get called a bitch. Come on, man.
Don't try
What
to
kind
spin
of
it like
world do you
somebody's
live
trying to
in?
make you
I
like that
speak
because
my
I try to
truth, but
protect
that
you
bitch
throughout
shit
our
all over.
entire relationship, which is why you look amazing.
Like, why are you trying to come for me when all I'm doing is...
And this is what also I said, Alex, he didn't look amazing. Okay? He did not look amazing. Okay, baby? He did not look amazing. Neither of you did. Neither of you came off on the show. Neither of you came in the show. Both of you got a problem. Now, here's what I think about both of them. Here's what I really think about both of them. The problem that I have with both of them is that neither wants to really take accountability. Neither of them. So whatever behaviors they're doing, they are looking for the other party to be the person who was the aggressor in the situation, right? Now, Tim, if you had left after the shushing, I would have rocked you and understood what I'm saying. Okay, all right? But the problem that we have is you didn't leave. The second also aspect is, Alex, there are actual, and I did a whole video on this, there were several parts where you were pushing boundaries, right? Just like he was pushing boundaries, as well, right? Now, Layla, no, come on, guys. Call him men little bitches. You're borderline. Just gonna be saying it. If you were to say that to a partner, I would look at you a little bit weird. Just saying. Y'all be doing a little bit too much. It's too comfortable to be calling men little bitches. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I think you're too comfortable. If you get to a place where you can call your partner a B word, I think you're a little bit too comfortable. You know what I'm saying to you? I think you get to a place where you're too comfortable. If you're able to call your partner man or woman, in any sense of the word, you call your partner a B word, I think you gotta be very, very careful. You know what I mean? Like, I think you should just be, a little bit careful what words are coming out. You know what I'm saying to you? I think you should be a little bit, just a little careful. You know what I'm saying to you? I think you should be very careful on that. Yes, do I call them little B words? Yes, I call other men. See, men can call other men certain things. Just like when you're a woman and you call a woman that, that's fine. Call your woman whatever you want to call her. I said for other men, if they're doing that to other men, I'm going to call you out as a man. I'm going to call you out. But if you're talking about ladies to ladies, they do your ladies to ladies. But don't do it the opposite way. When we do the opposite way, we have a problem. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I don't think a man should be talking to a woman that way. I don't think a woman should talk to a man that way. If the man them are talking to a man them, the man them are talking to a man them. Do you get what I'm saying to you? We say a lot of things to each other as man them. You know what I'm saying to you? Because you got to be ready to fight. You understand what I'm saying to you? So if you can say it there, be ready for fight if a man. Yes, there are that's not a double standard. Men and women have to talk to men and women differently. When you're a woman talking to a man, don't talk to him that way. If you're a man, don't talk to a woman that way. Do you know what I'm saying to you? If you're talking to women, talk to women that way. But I don't say certain things to women. I don't say certain things to men. That's why you'll hear me say certain things to men. Specifically. I'll say certain things about men. Yeah, we say that. You can't talk the same way. Let's be real. We know that already. You know what I'm saying to you? We know that already. Like, let's be real. Come on, let's be real. You're saying that from a position where you know exactly what you can and can't say. As men, we can say it to other men. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? But you know what I mean. If I now start saying to you like, these women are a little bit, you'd look at me some way. You'd probably call me a misogynist. You'd call me somebody who hates women if I started talking that way. You know what I'm saying to you? So we as men in the chat, we may say certain things. It doesn't give you guys, ladies, the time to now come and say the same thing about men. No. When we congregate and we talk about men, we have to always be ready that this could backfire and get physical. So if you're going to say it, you got to be ready. For the ladies, when they say their thing, you say your thing to your thing. And that's between you ladies. You know what I'm saying to you? So if you call each other B words, that's what y'all talk about. But for us men, that's what we talk about. You know what I'm saying to you? So I would separate the two. I would say that's what happens. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say. You know what I mean? But listen, that doesn't take away from the fact that both of them are a problem. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna say that you know. Hey, Rose, get out of here. I am tired of you, Layla, in the chat. You lot are absolutely moving bad. I need you to get out of here. I need Layla and Rose to get out of here. You know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? I need y'all to get out of here. So, no, yes. And I think that's what it is, Mr. Don't Play. That's exactly what it is. Like, we may call other men that, but we have to be accountable and ready for what's going to happen as men. Which is why I'm saying that for us as men, we can say that. Because that is it is between men. And we say that kind of thing, you know? You know what I mean? Sean want to say it. Sean, if you don't get your cape off, But I hear what you say. No, joking. No, listen. If you want to say that, Sean, I actually understand that. You know what I mean? As men, we can talk about that. If you want to say that, then that's fair. You know what I'm saying to you?
When it's showing you love. Why the attitude? Why? What did I do? What did I do to you?
Okay.
Well, look, I think it's.
He said, "What did he do to her, bro?" My only problem with Tim is he don't see what he does. Someone said he fights like a woman. You know what? I'll take it. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna be mad at it. Anyway, I ain't gonna take it mad at it. I ain't gonna be mad at it. I think Tim doesn't see sometimes what he do. You know what I'm saying to you? It's like when I pointed out the dog situation, yeah, I didn't like the fact that he did a dog situation. I was like, when you kept on saying the dog situation, you kept on pushing the boundaries. You know what I'm saying to you? I kept on pushing the boundaries. So that's when I realized, no, I like, Tim, you push boundaries. You know what I mean? So don't push boundaries. But like I said, and I would agree with this pod as well, again, like I said earlier on, there is no excuse for her behavior. I'm not giving her an excuse by saying because he yelled or whatever, you now calling someone a B word. Like, we don't correlate the two. Like, you know what I'm saying to you? But he needs to also see what part he played in this situation. You know what I'm saying to you? So, yeah.
Safe to say that he felt disrespected in that moment. And I think another moment we all saw where you felt disrespected is when you took a nap when his parents came to visit. Looking back on that, why did you decide to take a nap knowing his parents had driven all that way to see and spend time with you? And do you regret maybe some of the ways you handled that day?
So
okay, now I see both points of view here. I really do. On this part, I see both points of view. You know what I'm saying to you? I see both. Okay? I see both of them. I see both of them, honestly, because I get it, right? I see his point of view. And also, I know a lot of people are saying, I don't know why that would end a marriage. Now, you know that people end relationships for small things. But it's not small because it's connected to other things. It is only the straw that broke the camel's back. There were other things that were breaking the back of the camel. You know what I'm saying to you? It's just a final straw. So I didn't have a problem with him ending it because she took a nap. I didn't have a problem with that at all. There was no biggie. It's because he explained it. But my issue was the way he handled that situation. It's almost like he was excitable to get her back. You know what I'm saying to you? That was my only issue. You know what I mean? So that's my only issue. So that's my only issue with the situation. Is just the way that he did, almost like he wants to get her back on that situation. So that was my big thing, you know, about that instance.
Oh, what unfortunately wasn't shown is I work so much. I work in fashion, I bartend, and that night I had to bartend for the first time. We were with his parents at like 11 a.m. until about 6, 7 p.m. And I had to work at 9 p.m. at the bar till 3 a.m. And I simply wanted a nap after we had lunch. We talked for like 4 or 5 hours.
Now, see, I have to be fair. I have to be fair, that, I think for me, looking at a situation, that this situation, I can understand why she wanted a nap. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay? I was going to be honest with you. I was like, yeah. I was like, no, I get where she's coming from too. She needed a nap. Okay, she got work the next day. If she communicated it, then I understand. Listen, she communicated it. I think the issue is, that there are, and this is where this is why I wanted Tim to be more aware, is that there are several instances that have played up to that moment. That's the problem. You get what I'm saying to you, right? There are several instances. And so he's not explaining it very well. Okay? All right? I also said another case I didn't like the intimacy. Probably, the sex was probably whack. The way they're fighting probably was. You know what I'm saying to you? So I get why she might have taken an hour nap. I can see that. I can see why she might have taken an hour nap. You know what I'm saying? All it needed was communication. That's what I think it was. That's what I'm saying, Mr. Black. I thought the nap thing is fine. Just communicate it. Just like, yo, you need a nap. It's been up. You've been 4 or 5 hours. Blah blah blah. But I think, I think there's some issue. I think he needs to be honest about about the way that he felt like certain things came across. You know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? Alex said the sex was good. Well, you know they both lied to the dad. They lied to the dad. So boy, oh boy.
And I literally just wanted 1 hour nap before I go into work. That's all it was. It was the only time that I actually bartended during our entire relationship.
Wait, now I see what Phil was saying. It's the only time you bartended through the whole entire relationship. Maybe you couldn't push that back a little bit. You know? You couldn't push that back a little bit. Just saying. But I get it. She got a job during the process. I get it. She had to make a bit of money. I get it as well. Because they're peanuts paying you. You know what I'm saying to you? So I get it. You know what I mean? It wasn't long. You know what I mean? I get it.
Okay. Well, Tim, I know I speak for a lot of us who watched it on this stage when I say that one of the most touching moments in the entire season was watching you ask Alex's father for his blessing. And a lot of us are also having a hard time understanding how you did that, but then called it quits a few days later.
The engagement ended because I felt like the level of respect that I was given wasn't being given in return.
And okay, so this part here, I had to get both of them again. I get both of them. If I'm honest with you, I do get it. I do get both of them. You know what I'm saying to you? I actually understand that as well. I see from both perspectives here again, right? I get from his perspective that, you know what? In a space of this, you know what it is? If I'm honest with you, from my perspective, I did it at the time, but then maybe I've changed my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. People do change their minds, right? People do change their minds. You know what I'm saying to you? Personally, I get it. I get that point too. But I also get her point of view, which is like, it looks calculating, right? For then you to break up. But I think it's because we're not actually expressing things that are on our mind in the midst of the conversation, which means that most people are missing links because we're not talking about what actually happened.
Every day in this process feels like a week. What we bonded over most was how much we love our family. The entire time we met, she wanted me to show her father some respect and love, and I wanted to respect and love my fiance. So she asked me, and I showed up for her family.
And I think this is where his biggest issue is that he's reading her behavior as intentional too. I think, but you see how both of them are reading it intentional? She's reading that he read the letter and was intentionally trying to deceive the father by doing this. And he's reading the fact that she slept, was not doing the dishes, and read it as being intentional. And I think when that happened, that caused hyper reactions from both of them to be looking at situations in a way that is that the person is doing it on purpose to hurt them. And if you notice, this whole argument is about you hurt me on purpose, basically. That's where both of them are at this point, right? Is that you hurt me on purpose. And I think that is a big thing that is happening for both of them. And I think that's because both of them have gone through very tumultuous childhoods of pain, and it hasn't been dealt with. And so I think a lot of them, struggle through that aspect too. So I understand that point too, right?
Because I thought this was going to be my family. I was trying to give this my all because I loved this woman, and I meant that. I felt like when it was my turn, it wasn't returned. And she said she has to work, which is fine. I get it. Everybody makes a living. She didn't mention that she was in the club till 4 a.m. the night before. She didn't mention that the day after that she didn't text me till.
Okay, so I don't think she was in a club the day before. But I think she was in a club a few days before that. And again, this is why I said about when you are carrying a lot of pain, the way you can read certain things, I can see how it can be a problem. Okay? Because if you're carrying issues from the past and not sorting it out, which is why I said that shush thing and the B word was a problem before then. Okay? So when he allowed that pain to carry over, and he didn't actually, they never fully sorted it out, which is the biggest problem. They never fully sorted it out. What they did was they covered it up. So when you cover something up, right, the problem is that it's not healed yet. So when it gets uncovered, pain is going to erupt. So when he's looking at the situation, when it opens up again, he's not looking at that immediate moment. He's looking at the past. So he's looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infractions, and that's what happens. That's what happens. So now you're going to react to something differently because you're carrying the
10 in the morning. And the day I tried to warn her about her flat tire, she caught a flat tire, even though I tried to tell her about her prior tire pressure. I'm trying to show love all day, and you wait until the afternoon to try to speak to me. When you say we always have to talk on your terms, I've been waiting all day to hear from you.
Now let's pause it here. The whole point of him making this whole point was to disprove her point. He actually took this long way around to disprove a point about how he was not talking on his terms, but he was talking on her terms. Okay, all right. So I was like, I get what you're saying, bro. And now I see your argument. Now I see your argument, but her argument too. You're both trying to fight about control again, right? The whole point is that it's all about control. Each person feels controlled by the other person, and it's because neither of them want to yield. Okay, neither of them want to yield. Neither of them wanting to yield. That all it is that both people are unwilling to yield.
You didn't even let me know you made it home, and you're supposed to be my fiance. So I'm not even worried about accountability. I'm just worried about your safety.
Okay, Alex, you were while he was talking.
I mean, he did show the receipts. She didn't message him for a couple of hours. I don't know what was going on. There was a day or whatever she missed. I don't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? There was a whole day she didn't text him or whatever. I don't know what was going on there, to be honest. So
Shaking your head, looking over.
There's just so many things that have been said that are bold-faced lies. First off, the first thing he said, I was not out the night before. We went to dinner at Mi Vida the night before. And then
Before we met your dad, you were in the club till 4 in the morning.
before I met your parents. Before I met your parents, we went to dinner, which is what you were just speaking on. You said I just showed up like nothing. So
The night before we met your dad?
Can I speak?
see, I think both of them got their wires crossed here. I got a little bit confused there. So I was like, wait. So before we met your dad or before we met your parents, whose parents did we meet? You know what I'm saying to you? I was like, wait, what's going on here then? Okay. So I think he conflated two different issues. Okay. All right. They conflated two different issues here. He conflated two different issues. And that's the problem as well, is that because Tim is not able to, I don't even think he's a gaslighter. If I'm honest, I don't think he's a gaslighter. But I understand where you're coming from, though. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I think what I'm seeing from him is simply this. You don't know how to really verbalize how you actually feel. Because of that, there's a general consensus of feeling that happens. So the general consensus of feeling, okay, that happens, all right, means that when you explain something, you're dealing with backlog of feelings. And so the problem with that is when you do the backlog of feelings, you're taking into account several days, but you're not talking about that. You're talking about this here. And when you do that, people are going to call you a liar because they're going to call you out on the mismatch of a date or whatever which you gave them, right? But really what you're talking about is not actually the date. You're talking about the feeling that you have. And because you also don't want to accept that you have feelings, you've got a bigger problem. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You've got a bigger problem because you're not dealing with the actual feelings, but you feel something. So what you're describing is feelings.
You're saying I'm lying
Can
and
I
making
speak?
something up.
Can I speak? Thank you.
So it wasn't necessarily a bold-faced lie because it wasn't a lie, but what it was an incorrect statement in this instance because you've confused two dates. She was out in the club one time. She was the day before, a few days. I think it was like 2 days before that or a day before that. She was in the club till 4 a.m. in the morning. But to say that but he's now conflated that with that moment with her lackadaisical, quote unquote, from his perspective, showing up into a relationship and with his parents. But you don't. But that's not what's happening. So you're conflating the energy, but not necessarily what the actual facts are of the situation. You know what I'm saying to you? So she was correct to correct him. I'm not saying she was wrong. She was correct to correct him. You know what I mean? I think she was correct to correct him. I don't think he was lying per se. I think he got it wrong, personally.
Yeah. When we went to meet your family, we went to dinner before that. And if you see that I look a little upset, it's because I was. The night before, when we went to dinner, which was the same day that he met my family, I was asking him, how do you feel? Where's your head at? You know, I'm so thankful you read that beautiful letter to my dad. It was a very emotional day, you know, all the things. And he answered that he had doubts.
Now, this is where it obviously gets techie for both people. Again, I understand where both people are coming from. Both of them got doubts. I get it. Both of them got doubts. No, sorry, he's got doubts, sorry. I totally understand. And his doubts made her feel some type of way. I totally get that. It makes sense. Yeah? his side, I get it. His side, I get what he's saying, but I also get what she's saying. I'm now feeling, but you see, we're not filling in the gaps of conversation, right? We're not filling the gaps of conversation. We're filling the gaps with actions that are based on these feelings, rather than really showing how we actually, telling about how we actually feel. So again,
and I just was kind of taken back because I'm just like, how do you do that whole performance and then say, I have doubts? My dad.
And that's the pause right there. She already believes that he did it on purpose, because what she called it, a performance, rather than saying, do you know what, when you shared your heart with my dad, you know what I mean? She already believes that it was a performance. Do you get what I'm saying to you? And personally, I don't necessarily think he was, I don't think necessarily he did, like he was thinking to quote unquote get her back by telling her dad this. I genuinely think he had a you know, a change of heart, in the sense of, like, I think he was unbalanced before then, and I think there were certain things that happened that truly unbalanced him. But I'll be very honest, he still has to take accountability for the fact that once you read that out, you are going to cause an issue when you read that out. It's almost like when you go to meet the parents and then you break it off. There is going to be some accountability. But I also understand it is a short period of time. You are going to change your mind. But I also understand that you have to be accountable, because you read that letter and you didn't have to read the letter. You could have had a conversation and you probably would have still been called out. I won't lie to you. But you still could have not read the letter per se. You know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't think he necessarily was trying to intentionally get at the dad by reading that letter, but I do believe, and that's a fair point. I can take that on board. That he might have read it to be impressive. Yeah. I can take that on board. Yeah. I can take that as an answer as well. I won't say that's no. I won't say that's a no. I can see that as well. He might have read it. It might have been for an ego thing per se, not necessarily to hurt her, but for an ego thing. I can see that potentially as well. You know what I mean? You know, Taylor said, yeah, if you're having doubts, I don't want you to meet my family during my experience. Tell me that doubts first before you read a letter. Asking my dad, then having doubts. The only problem with that is, I wouldn't even say like problem like in a bad way. Like I agree with you, Taylor. I wouldn't want you to meet my parents if that's the case, right? I think the only issue that we have here is that in real life, this happens a lot. And you have more time. There are many people that have doubts and go and meet the family. And the reason why is because you're hoping that the doubts will fade. You're hoping the doubts will change. You're hoping that these little doubts you're having, it's just me having cold feet. Many people have doubts and go meet the family. Now, here's the biggest issue. That letter should have never been read. I'm sorry, the letter just shouldn't have been read. Like, I just felt like the letter should have been read. But I get from his perspective too, you know, as well in that aspect. But yeah, the letter for me, I don't like that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, that's also a good point too. That's also a good point too. You know, it does help. You know what I mean? It does help. You know that I see that part too, because they didn't tell the full truth to the dad. You know what I mean? I mean, he didn't tell the dad that, you know, your daughter slapped me in my mouth. But I mean, sorry, your daughter put her hand in my mouth and shushed me, and we had a big ass fight. But you know, I think a lot of it also, you know, I think also the fact of the matter is that I saw both sides of this. I didn't see it as being, you know, a bad thing. You know what I'm saying to you? So I saw it as you change your mind, and I get that. You know what I mean?
Dad shook your hand and said, I accept you as my son. And 3 hours later, you say, I have doubts. Why? And then a day after that, we're ending an engagement. Why even get him involved? You know how much that meant to me. You already had these doubts. And if you had these doubts, why did we meet my family? That's what I had an issue with. And to sit here and try to be like, oh, I have so much respect for you, but you broke up with me because of allegedly a nap, or I didn't do the dishes. The hate that you...
Now let's pause right here. Remember this. It's tight. It's tight. I won't lie to you. It's tight. I do understand. I really do understand her point on this. You know, I do understand this as well, right? I get why she will see it that way. I get why she will see it that way. I don't think she's wrong for seeing it that way. Again, I think just need to be open that it's not that way. Like many of us who got insecure attachments and avoidant attachments tend to see people's behaviors as intentional. when they're trying to hurt us. And it doesn't always mean that. Okay? It doesn't always mean that you are trying to hurt them on purpose, but they may feel that the things that have been done to them are hurting them on purpose. And so what I see with these two is they believe that everybody's actions towards them have been on purpose. You know what I'm saying, Chu?
You projected onto me on that breakup was mind-blowing. It's like I killed your dog. It felt like this was a situation for you to have it out, and you took it and ran with it. So what?
Well, if this was a situation to have it out, what's wrong with that? You're right. I needed an out. You're right. I needed an out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying to you? You're right. He needed an out. You're not lying. He needed an out, right? And because what you have to understand is also about avoidance is that sometimes avoidance struggle with dealing with issues like this, right? What can end up happening is they have to build a case before they do what they do. Okay, all right, and the problem is that with the case building, you're not telling somebody that you are building a case, but with a lot of avoidance, they are building a case, setup by setup by setup by setup. Okay, all right. Now, when they set it up like that, okay, they end up. It can look like they're blindsiding you, but for them, it's like no. I've given you chance after chance after chance after chance, and you've blown it. So now I'm playing you. But in reality, they never actually told the person what was going on in their mind, in their head. But he did. He said he had doubts. It was just really quick. You know what I'm saying, Chu? You know, he just got out first.
What was this relationship real? Like, do you have respect for me? Because I don't feel like you do.
First of all,
She asking, do you have respect for me, not love? I think you need to. I think you need to deep that. No, really deep this. Really deep this. She's not asking if you loved me. She's asking. I want you to really deep this. You know. She's not asking whether you loved me. She's asking whether you respected me. Ooh. That's quite interesting. You call it. It's a reverse of roles. And that's why I said that they're both a problem here. Because what they're really fighting for isn't the love. Right? These people, I mean, I think they cared about each other, but I think what got over them was their fears. You know what I'm saying to you? So actually, when you really deep it, okay, it's rare that you hear, and this maybe is me, like, did you ever respect me? When really, listen, don't get twisted, respect is important. But what we're talking about, the actual relationship, is it real? Did you ever respect me? Rather than did you ever love me? It's quite interesting. I think the wording there is quite interesting in the way it's put. You know what I'm saying too? I agree with you guys. Listen, I know, rather be respected than loved. I totally understand what you're saying. But it's just weird that when you break up, that's the wording you would use. If someone, you normally would use that someone would love you rather than whether they respected you. If I'm talking about whether a relationship was real or not, I'm not asking you, did you ever respect me? Did you ever respect me? No, just deep what you're saying. We get, and I'm with you ladies and gents as well, our respect is important. You know your respect is important. But when you break up with somebody, do you say, you know what? Did you ever respect me? Yeah, you might say that in your head, but usually what you're saying is that, did you ever love me is what we normally say, right? Did you ever care about me?
you wonder why I don't talk to you, but you sit here and call me a bitch to my face.
You
on national
laugh at
TV.
everything that she says. Oh my God. You literally have been laughing at everything she says. That's disrespectful. You have no room to call her disrespectful.
Because she's
I'm
not,
sorry.
she is telling, look, I get it. This is your version of the truth, but I feel very attacked.
And look, you probably do feel very attacked. But the problem that we have, I think the problem we have is, I think the problem we have here in this situation is that, and as you notice again, when you hear him say, he said, you're talking to me, but, how do you expect me to talk to you when you call me the B word? It's like, bro, but you've been talking the whole entire time, bro. You've been talking, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying to you? You've been talking, you can, you know what I mean? So, bro, like, again, these two are just fighting for the, fighting for the respect on each side. I think that's what it was, and you know, I think that's the problem, you know. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. There are some aspects of Tim that he doesn't like taking on the negative aspect. He feels like when he's being critiqued, they're critiquing him. And that's because he hasn't got emotional safety within himself. And so he's looking at actions and emotions together. I was talking about this with a client today, and I'll end on this note because I've got to go. My time is up, but we'll definitely be back later on. My time is up. But one of the things that's really interesting is that when I talk to my clients, I talk to them about how emotional safety, one of the biggest things is to understand that emotions are not actions. Emotions are not actions. Okay? Emotions are not actions. And so you have to be able to separate the two. You know what I'm saying too? You have to separate the two. And so when I look at it and I go, okay, cool. I understand where you're coming from. When you are you know, when you see it that way, you'll realize that I can respond to something, or you can say something about me, but it's not about, you're talking about my behavior, not me as a personhood. And if you don't know how to deal with you as a personhood, but you equate it to being you equate everything that somebody says to you about you as a person, not your behavior, you will always be in a place where you're like, you know what I'm saying to you? It's like, oh, you're getting at me. Are they? Or are they just talking about the behavior you had? So I see it.
Where it's like you're saying that I
Can I just say though, Alex is hella fine. You know, like a little toxicity, but Alex is, oh my God. I keep looking at her face and I think to myself, she is hella fine. She's just crazy. Okay, so is Tim, but she is hella fine. Okay, I can't lie to you. All right? I'll be looking at Alex and I'll be looking at her face and I'm like, damn, you are fine. Okay? The chocolate is just oozing. Oh my God. Like, bro, you know the Ting family. Like, she's fine. Like, I cannot lie to you. You hear me? Yeah? You know what I'm saying to you? All I'm saying is, you know what I mean? I may have given her a second chance too. I might have lost my head a little bit for a second or so. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Yeah? I might have lost my head for a second or two. I'd have found it again. But I'm just saying I might have lost my head for a second or two because she's fine. Woo! My God, she's fine. Woo! That's one fine woman there. Aye, damn. Someone said, remember the apartment. You know what? We'll get a cleaner. We'll get a cleaner. Okay? All right? Don't you worry, later. I've got my water here. Okay? All right? Because let me tell you this now. When I see Alex... Woo-wee! My God, that is a fine black woman. You know what I'm saying to you? Now, if she called me a B word, I want to be honest with you. The relationship is almost done. And the funny thing is, I really can relate to Tim, but the only difference is that Tim really wanted to get back at back at Alex in a particular way, which I totally get. But the way he did it, yeah, he didn't have to do that way. You know what I'm saying to you? I have actually been in a situation where someone called me a B word and said a couple other things. Rah. I'm actually deep in it. Someone did. Yeah, I dated somebody and they actually did call me the B word. Yeah, they called me the B word. And it wasn't the end. I told them straight, listen, I don't do those kind of things. But it's I'll be honest with you, it set the relationship in motion, and I, like Tim, I started disconnecting. I actually started disconnecting, and this is where I also understand where Tim is coming from. But my ending wasn't like his ending. I didn't try to end it that way. I tried to bring it back. I did try, but I realized it got too far, and that's what you don't realize. I think you don't realize in that place. But that was a couple of years ago. Now, if somebody did, I'll be honest with you, it wouldn't necessarily be the end. But I think what I would do is have a serious conversation and say, listen, this is the one and the only time. I think now I'm in a better place where I'm like, no, this is the one and only time. I think I can do that. The thing for me is the touching. I just can't do the touching. I can't do the touching. You know what I'm saying to you? I can't do the touching. The touching thing I can't do. Because if you touch me, I can't deal with that. You know what I'm saying to you? But, you know, I probably would be able to say, listen, you know, listen, we got one time to only call me that and never again. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm a person, like, that for me is a violation, but it's something I can go to you, listen, this is a one and only time. If you would quit, I understand you would quit, but I want to be honest with myself and say, I would have one and only time. You know what I'm saying to you? One and only time. That was what I'd say.
I didn't do something,
But she looked good, my God.
honestly, when, again, this entire time you were asking me to do everything I can for your family. So I did it. And I don't feel like I was getting anything in return.
And that's his biggest issue. That is Tim's biggest issue. And that's what part we have to leave it on. Okay? All right? That's the biggest issue. You know what I'm saying to you? That's the biggest issue. That's my biggest issue. I hear that, Mr. Play. That's my biggest issue. My biggest issue. That's Tim's biggest issue. Tim's biggest issue is that he feels he put a lot of effort in and he didn't get the effort back from her. He feels like she didn't really didn't really feel for him. And that's his biggest issue. But instead of really communicating that, look where we are now. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Look where we are now. So the issue for Tim, he just needed to look at it in a different way. Like, you know, I get it. You know what you were expecting from her, but then you need to communicate what standards you wanted to see, and then let her know. Listen, look, I've done all of this, but you know what? I also wanted you to go out hard for me as well. I feel some type of way because it feels like, you know what, that I've gone so hard, and I feel like you haven't really gone as hard for me the same way. And I want someone to show up the same way I show up as well, going hard as well, right? Which is fair. You know what I'm saying to you? Right? I totally get it. You have to communicate that. You have to communicate, and you have to communicate in a way that's not going to get the person into another fight. You know what I'm saying to you? You got to be able to communicate that. But he didn't necessarily communicate that. What we saw was a beef. So I get it. Like, it was unfortunate. You know what I'm saying to you? You know? Mr. Play said, I don't mind a name calling. Sad to say, I'm used to grown women having toddler tantrums, but getting physical in any way, huge no. Same, bro. Same. Yeah. I think because I've seen those, and because I know that people can say some stuff at the heat of a moment, I don't rate it. But like I said, I'm willing to give somebody a one and only. Like, yo, that's the one, the only, don't ever again. You know what I'm saying to you? That's for me. So okay. I just think that Tim, and do you know what the funny thing is? And I'm gonna end up. Let me say this as well. I think what's really key here is that something that I learned this year. I had a conversation with somebody at the beginning of the year. So something happened between me and the person, right? And when I say I was vexed, I was heated blood. When I said I was heated, I was hot blood. I mean, steam was coming out my ear, cuz. Yeah? And so, I was so heated. And I remember when a person said to me, like, yo, like, the way I was so angry, they were scared, innit? You know? Whilst I felt I was justified in what anger I was, the way that I was, and I know I was vexed. I was super vexed. I get ready to those points, but when I do get to those points, yeah. But when they told me that, you know, when they told me how they were afraid in that moment, right? You know, I took a step back. I said, whoa. You know what? You're right. Now, that does not, and I was able to have a conversation with a person where I said, that does not make what you did admissible, by the way. I said, no, I still hold you accountable for what you did, but you're absolutely right about my anger in that moment. The way I displayed it, I understand. You know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? The heat that you saw coming off me, I hear it. You know what I'm saying? My tone of voice, I get it. So I started looking at it from a perspective of like, raw. I know how sometimes it feels like, because, you know, I deal with my dad and he can sometimes get angry, and I know how it is to be in a space where someone can be very, very angry. You know what I'm saying to you? So so again, I had to work on that. Okay, I had to work on that and start realizing I've got a lot of hidden anger, silent anger. If you've done my coaching with me, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about coaching, about the silent anger. I had a lot of silent anger, and so I had to take accountability. I didn't realize there was a lot of silent anger behind me that I was not necessarily dealing with, that would come out when I felt hurt. That's where the silent anger would arise. And the anger does not always mean you scream and shout. I'm not a screaming and shouter, but what I will do is I will be petty. I will be 100% petty, and I'm getting my own back. You know what I'm saying to you? Or I will avoid you. Right? I'm going to stonewall you. I'm going to avoid you. You're going to come back to me. But that's all to do with anger, because those are all things that anger does. It puts you in a place of withdrawal, numbness, skepticism, wrath, rage. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So I had to realize that there's a lot of anger that I was dealing with that was hidden underneath the surface that may not be shown to be an angry person, but you round me up, I could say something. You know what I'm saying to you? So that is something that I just feel like for Tim and Alex, they need to work on, because in that space, they're not actually going to help each other. You know what I'm saying to you? So it's all a learning progress as well. You know, I think that's also a lot of learning progress from both sides need to do. So, Chile, mercies of God. You know what I'm saying to you? Mercies. Yeah. His problems. So yeah. Sure, it's like a double volcano. yeah. And so like I said, it's just a thing that we need to work on. You know what I mean? It's a thing we need to work on. So I think for any man out there, you know, and any woman out there too, because obviously I coach women as well, and we all got some anger. A lot of us are not showing anger in the way that is, you know, violent per se, but it's when we get hurt that the anger comes out. It's when we feel like someone is disrespecting us. The level of energy we might bring to that place might be much heavier than we actually really need to. So we're not able to show or say how we really feel, but we may rage. So it's really important that you deal with that hidden anger. A lot of us are more hidden in our anger than the actual anger. Like, you know, every time you're angry. More when you get hurt. More when you are feeling like there's justice has not been taken, or someone's trying to mug you and take advantage of you, or, you know, you feel like someone's trying to betray you. That's when you'll start to see what kind of anger do you carry. Oh, some people's anger, you will never see it until the day. You know what I'm saying to you? So I personally think Tim's anger is for his dad. I can't lie to you. You know what I mean? I do feel like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't lie to you. I think his anger is towards his dad. Because like I said, I saw his dad and I saw his mum dynamic. I don't think he likes that dynamic. If I'm honest with you. I don't think he likes that dynamic. I think he doesn't like the fact his mum is more dominant than his dad. You know what I'm saying to you? So yeah, but that's a good point. No, that's a good point. That's a good point too. Sorry, not that point. Sorry, this one here. And I think this one too as well, right? I think it's also too big one. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, as well. It could be. I think so too. You know. So that's why for me, this year has been when God pointed it out to me, I'm angry. I said, you're joking. I'm not an angry person. But yeah, anger is a real thing. It is a real thing. And you need to work on it, both men and women. But for us men, when talk to the men specifically, we definitely need to work on it, because we need to be able to, conduct ourselves, because of the fact that it looks different for us when we're angry like that. When we're angry like that, it looks different. You know what I'm saying to you? And you've only got, and for us men, this is the double standard, which I'm not trying to change. I am not trying to change. Okay? All right. Jay said I'm not angry and I blow up on them. I definitely blow up on them for sure. This is where the anger's got to change. Not anger, for men and women is very different, is that you've only got a few times to show that kind of anger before someone becomes fearful of you. And that's the difference. Like, because of the physical differences between men and women, you've only got a small amount of window where that anger, when it goes past that point, that your woman is now going to look at you like, I'm now scared. And she may not say it either, but she'll now know that, you know what? I'm not sure if I can trust him. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So for us men, the gap is much smaller than it is for women, right? Because of the physical differences. That is a double standard that will never change, because the physical differences between men and women are different. So as a man, we've got to be very, very, that's why I think we've got to be more bridled with our anger, because of those differences as well. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know, so you have to be a bit more gentle, and more disciplined. You know what I mean? It's a double standard, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying to you? It is what it is. Yeah, absolutely, Sean. I agree that as well. The violence is not the issue. The issue is that the women are not as strong as us like that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be having fights with women. Like, that's crazy. So you have to be very, very very careful as well. You know. But anyway, listen. Look, we gotta be out of here, man. Okay, we gotta be out of here. But you know, this was a good conversation. You know what I'm saying to you? I hope they both do the work. I think both of them can do some work. And whichever side you fall on, I hear it. I'm not gonna say no. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just going to say, listen, I see there's a different side of things as well. There's two different side of things, and I see why the ladies are seeing things from their side, and I see why the man them are seeing things from their side as well. You know what I mean? You know? You know, I definitely understand that. All right, listen. I got to go. Shout out to Easton as well, becoming a member. Saturday, we'll be back, guys. Saturday, we will be back, okay? We appreciate you. And I didn't get to talk about Stefan. I was going to talk about Stefan because Stefan's a whole damn liar. Okay? Alright? Stefan's a whole damn liar. So we'll have to do him another time. But yeah, we'll have a different time. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked today. We'll see you again soon. Much love.